Hey, it's Callan from Authentic Lifestyle Design, and today I want to talk to you about something that I haven't really heard anything about before, which is called spiral dynamics and dating. So, if you haven't been on my channel before, spiral dynamics is a model of developmental psychology developed by a guy named Professor Claire Graves. And basically, what it is it's a developmental model of human evolution, and it attempts to model the certain stages that human beings go through in their own development. And I've got a full series on this model. So I've got an introduction video, and which I'll link above. I've also got a video specifically on each stage, and there's 8 different stages, and there's 8 different levels. So essentially, a really quick overview is there's beige, which is pure survival. There's purple, which is tribal, being in a small group. Then there's red, which is all about power, dominance, learning how to assert power and dominance. Then there's blue, which is about black and white thinking, kind of collecting yourself into a larger community, and there being certain rules that you abide by and things like that. So it's very black and white in its thinking. Then there's orange, which is all about success and trying to become as successful and famous and well known as possible. Then there's green, which is all about emotions and opening up emotionally and, chilling out a little bit and just enjoying life as it comes. Then there's yellow, which is integral, which moves into our second tier, which actually takes all the lower stages and adds them all together. And what yellow is, it's basically an integral model of trying to understand the world and trying to put together heaps of different ideas in order to gain deeper understanding into all sorts of things. And then beyond yellow, you have what's called turquoise, and turquoise is essentially flow. Turquoise is when you become content with the universe unfolding in whatever way it's unfolding, and you become less attached to small details. And you just sort of go with it at that point. So I thought I'd take this model of spiral dynamics and apply it to dating, which is something that I think is really useful, but I've never heard anyone talk about. So I decided to make this video about it today. So let's jump into it. Again, you're probably going to need more than what I said to know about spiral dynamics. So I've got a full series, there's other full series on the internet. It's a model that's worth investing your time into learning, because what it actually gives you is a map. You can see where you are in your own development, and you can also see where you'd need to go, what the levels are that are above you, and there's so many interesting alleys to explore in a model like that. And there's other versions of spiral dynamics, but I just chose that for this channel because it's kind of popular. It's like a more trendy model of developmental psychology, and it's a lot deeper than something like Maslow's hierarchy or something you just learn in psychology school. So here we go. Here's my overview of spiral dynamics in dating, or spiral dynamics and relationships. The first thing I've written is that understanding the stage of a potential partner can be very useful, right? Because if you understand the stage of a person, you can also understand what they want. So if someone's at orange, which is the stage where they want lots of material success and they want to be known by people, obviously if you're a man trying to date a woman who's orange, she's going to be looking for a guy with status, a guy that's successful in a very material, traditional sense of that word. He's got a lot of stuff and he's known by a lot of people. So that's what a girl at orange is going to be looking for. Therefore, as a guy at orange, you're going to need to possess that in order to attract one of these girls. But if you're at green, if you're trying to attract a girl that's at green, then all of a sudden all this status and, owning a mining company or something that generates $1 million a year for you isn't going to mean as much, because all of a sudden green's looking for something else, So women at green, they're looking more for men that are comfortable in their masculinity, that don't have to prove anything to anyone, that are just kind of going with the flow of their life, that are emotionally more open. So as you can see from this, it really depends on what sort of girl you're looking for. Are you trying to get with a girl at orange or green or blue? At blue, it's very black and white, so you're basically going to have to tick the boxes that she thinks are right for her, and so on. Yellow, a woman's going to be far more open-minded, so you're going to have to be equally as open-minded if you want to attract her. You're going to be able to have those deeper conversations. So it's really important that if you want to understand what stage someone's at, not even just in dating, but in business or any other area of life, you can understand what they want. And if you can understand what someone wants, That's super useful. And then you realize, can I give this person what they want, or do I want to give this person what they want? You might not. Like Orange have a famous way of keeping up with the Joneses. Maybe you don't care what your neighbors buy, or you don't care about how successful you are. And if so, you probably don't want to date a woman at Orange, because she's going to throw that at you. Alright, the second thing is, when one person moves into a higher stage, this can end a relationship. So normally people are at a similar stage. So for example, say if you're both at Orange, and then all of a sudden your wife moves into Green, and all of a sudden you're doing things that she doesn't agree with, that can actually end a relationship. So that's something really important when you look at divorce or you look at other things. It's usually because one person's growing and one person isn't growing, or because they're both at the same level and someone starts progressing into like earlier stages. For example, you might have married somebody at Orange and they were very hungry for material success, and then something happened in their lives that stressed them out and pulled them down to Red, and now all of a sudden they're violent, they're aggressive, and they just want power, which becomes unattractive to their partner. So that's a really common way to look at divorce and arguments and relationships ending, is that some people can move up and down the spiral and therefore they lose that connection. And the final thing in my overview, I've got that many people in relationships are at the same stage or within one stage from one another. So this usually works. If two people are at Orange, that can work. If they're both chasing material success, that works. If they're both at Green and they kind of just want a chill lifestyle, then that works for them. But usually people are at the same stage. Sometimes people can be at a higher stage and date lower, but usually that's men dating women, okay? Women don't usually want to date men that are below them in the spiral, just from what I've noticed, but men might, and usually men at the individualistic stages do. So a man at Red, which is all power, might date a woman at Purple, who's more that tribal sense. But then a man at Orange, who's all about material success, he might date a woman at Blue, and then he might mold her blue, black and white beliefs to match what he's doing. Or then a man at Yellow, who's really open-minded, might date a woman at Green, because the man's open-minded enough to just let the woman have her opinions, and he might understand that some of those opinions limit her, but he also might be okay with that. But usually you don't see women dating men that are below them in the spiral. At least I haven't really seen this, because a woman at Green, for example, which is all chill, enjoy the vibe sort of stuff, don't want to date men at Orange because they see them as materialistic, and that's a big turn off for Green. So when you look at it all like this, you can start to see all these fine little layers. So that's my quick overview of what I've noticed in the 5 years or so that I've known about spiral dynamics, and the 5 years I've been dating and kind of trying to put two and two together. So here's a bit of advice. The first thing I've got here is try to get into a romantic relationship with somebody at the same stage as you. So if you're at Orange and you're chasing material success, try and get with a woman that's at Orange as well that wants material success. If you're at Green and you just want to chill, find a woman that wants to chill. If you're at Yellow and you want to understand and analyze the world, then get with a woman that wants to understand and analyze the world with an open mind that's not locking themselves into boxes, okay? And so on. Try and get with a partner at the same stage as you. Because if you look at most relationships that survive for long periods of time, and you'll notice that usually they're both at the same stage in the spiral. And if you're familiar with the stages, then you'll be able to see this more clearly. Second one I've got is to identify that if you're trying to climb the spiral and your partner isn't, you may grow apart. So for example, if you're both at Blue, and then say your wife tries to climb to Orange and she starts climbing up, once she gets to Orange, she's going to see you at Blue and she's going to feel limited and less attracted to that, and that could end the relationship. So usually when one party tries to climb up the spiral, when they're trying to do what's called vertical personal development, which is when you work your way up these developmental hierarchies, not just along them. So horizontal development would be like, say you're at Orange and to be trying to maximize Orange to become as rich and famous and successful as possible. When vertical personal development is a bit more powerful, because all of a sudden you shift out of the Orange paradigm into the Green paradigm, which would be the next one above, and your whole worldview shifts. But as your worldview shifts, all of a sudden you might not be attracted to the same people you used to be. You might not want the same kind of women. You know, your friends could change and such just because you're growing and you're going to resonate with different people than what you did when you were at a previous stage. So that's an important one. The next point I've got is try to grow from all relationships in your life. So if you're in a relationship and it's beyond, a casual fling or a one night stand or whatever, even if it's a casual relationship, if you're in a relationship, you should be trying to learn from that. You should be trying to improve yourself from that, to take away lessons from it. And that's a key in the spiral, because relationships can teach you a lot, which can actually help you to move up the spiral. And then finally, I've got go to places where people at your stage would likely hang out if you want to meet someone. So if you're at Orange, and say you're successfully at Orange and you're successful, maybe going to a club and flexing a bit of money, buying a bottle and getting a table would be a really good way to attract an Orange woman, a woman that's equally attracted to that stuff. If you're at Green, then maybe going to a music festival and being able to play an instrument and being able to sort of chill and have a nice inviting personality, that might be your window to attracting a woman. If you're at Blue, say you're of a certain religion, so maybe you're Christian, going to some kind of Blue traditional Christian thing might allow you to meet the right partner. If you're at Yellow, go to something that only yellow people would be interested in, go and explore philosophy or spirituality or something where once you get deeper into it, it becomes quite yellow in a lot of ways. It's kind of hard with Yellow though, because Yellow is such a wide variety because they take on so much from so many stages. But there are places that usually attract different people in the spiral, and if you can find a community of people that resonate at your level in the spiral, then it can be really easy to meet lots of new people, be that friends or partners. Yeah, anything like that. And the last little thing I wanted to address is an example of each stage as far as a relationship could go. So Beige, a relationship at Beige could be essentially you're together to survive. There doesn't have to be any love. There doesn't really have to be much attraction. It's essentially you're together to survive. You're in a life-threatening situation, and you two being together is going to enhance the chance of survival compared to you being separate. That's essentially a Beige relationship. So it's very primal, very simple. Purple is you're together to continue the tribe, and there's probably going to be some love here and some attraction and connection, but you're together to continue that tribe. You're together to contribute, because purple's collective. You're together to contribute to the tribe, and you're together to maximize that tribe and give that tribe lots of potential. Now, red is you're together for mutual benefit. So you're together because being together, you can meet each other's needs. Be that for power, for survival, to climb, to become more powerful, and so on. Now, this is where a man at red, or even a woman at red, but usually a man, can become oppressive, because red wants power, and maybe women are a part of the power they want, and therefore you can get some people at red that might abuse women or hurt women in order to feel powerful, in order to feel like they control them. So that's something to look out for. That'd be a very unhealthy red relationship if there's a man just sort of treating his wife poorly and being violent, things like that. It'd be more red. Then a blue relationship example would be you're together because it's the right thing to do. So maybe you're a Christian and you both grew up on the same street, or your parents both owned land and you kind of got pulled together by the culture, and you decide you both want to have a family, and you get together under the eyes of God because it feels like the right thing to do. And even if you don't like each other later down the road, you're still together because you feel that being together is the right thing to do by the culture, for the community, and for your kids. So blue, you're staying together because you feel it's the right thing to do. I mean, there's usually love there, but even if there's not, you feel like you're compelled to because it's the correct way to be. An example of an orange relationship is you're together because we're the best. You're together because you're both amazing and you're both trying to chase excellence, and being in that relationship allows you to chase excellence together in your own unique ways. And again, this can be oppressive, and it's usually men towards women, the oppression. Not always, but more often. And that can be, say, for example, a trophy wife, like a man just dating a woman because she's hot, and because that makes him look high status if he's dating a hot woman. Things like that. So there could be that attraction, but maybe there's not any real love or any real connection. Gold diggers is probably like the female version. They're making a man fall in love with them because they're attractive, but what they're really after is just the man's money, the man's resources. So that's very orange, like hard orange. Then green is we're together because we have a vibe. So at green, you're together, it just feels right, you just want to do it, you click together, you have common interests, you just enjoy it. You enjoy the journey together, you grow from each other, and you don't really overthink it, you just enjoy it. So that's a green relationship. Then yellow, you've got we're together because we're aligned. So this is like green but deeper. You're together because you're the same kind of personality, you're both at yellow in the spiral, you both really click, you both really connect in all these amazing ways, you have the same interests, the same passions, the same culture sort of thing, the same philosophy, the same attitude towards life. And all these things allow for this really beautiful, mature, amazing relationship. And yellow are usually healthy enough to leave a relationship if it's not serving them, and to do that pretty easily. So yellow is where relationships, like everything, become integral when they become deeper. And that can be a very healthy thing. But being at yellow, it's really hard to find a partner at yellow. I mean, if you're a man or woman in your 20s and you've managed to get to yellow, you're going to really struggle to find a partner at yellow just because there's not many out there. And if you do find one, that's amazing because, again, yellow is only a small percentage of the population. It's about 2% in most parts of the world. And then turquoise is we're together because we're together. They don't overthink it. They're just like, well, we're together because we want to be. And they're not trying to do what yellow would do and to put a bunch of logic behind it. They just go with the flow. Sort of like what green do, but again on a higher level. They're just, yeah, we're together because we want to be together. And if that relationship ever ended, they'd say, yeah, we're not together because it didn't feel right anymore and we decided not to be together. And they're not going to heavily overthink it like yellow would. So it's kind of like green, where it's like, oh, we're together, but sometimes a green relationship can become a little bit delusional. People can brainwash themselves and, tell themselves stories. At turquoise, it's not going to happen. It'll just be purely authentic. It'll be, yeah, we're together because we want to be. Or, no, we broke up because we didn't feel like being together anymore. It'll be far more simple. All right? So that's a really quick example of each stage, spiral dynamics in relationships. So using something like this in your dating, for example, if you're at yellow and you're trying to date a bunch of women at orange, or orange you kind of get the red pill where they say, women are this and that, and they talk about the biological nature of women or the biological nature of men or whatever. But they sort of forget about the frontal brain, that just because, men are programmed to sleep with hundreds of women, and because women are programmed to go towards a more high status guy if they're around, just because that's a biological impulse doesn't mean you have to entertain it. It doesn't mean you have to act upon it. And there's obviously higher levels to that. And humans evolve beyond that. That's always going to be a biological impulse, but you can control that impulse. So, red pill sits very at orange. There's some red pill at yellow, but most of it's orange. Black pill's kind of orange as well. It's just very material. It's like, oh, they don't like me because my face looks like this. Which makes sense because orange is like where a lot of the culture is right now. And blue is not as like that. Blue is very mechanical. And then green's just very open. Green's just like, you like who you like, and it's all open, it's all chill. So, all these different pills and belief systems and such, they're all windows. They're all ways of looking at things from different angles, and it's up to you how you want to do that. So yeah, that's an overview of spiral dynamics applied to relationships and how you can actually use the model of spiral dynamics in your own relationships and how you can apply it. So if you gained any value from this quick little presentation I threw up, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. If none of this made sense, then probably go and have a look at one of my other spiral dynamics videos, because this is a deeper topic. I just didn't see anything on YouTube about this, and I figured there had to be something on YouTube about this because it's a really interesting topic, and probably something someone else out there could see and probably make a way better video on than what I just did. Apart from that, peace out and enjoy the rest of your day.